Hi, I'm Billy Keels, the host of the Going Long podcast. Every week, I'm going to be here interviewing the absolute best in the business as it relates to real asset investing, as well as real Main Street investors. We're going to be having conversations where you can listen in, and that's going to help you to continue on your path to education so that you feel much more comfortable as well as confident in investing long distance. So make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you're liking it as well, because that way you can get every single episode as soon as it comes out. And by the way, don't forget to leave today's episode a 5-star review. Let's go ahead and listen to today's conversation. Welcome to the Going Long podcast. We're here to help educate you so that you continue to feel confident in investing beyond your backyard. I'm your host, Billy Keels. And if you've ever been interested in knowing how real estate can help you to achieve and create the lifestyle that you want, even if you've had a natural disaster come through your city, or you hate your job, or you've even, in a really extreme case, had a Catholic monk yell at you, well, then today's guest is going to tell you exactly how he was able to achieve this by asking himself one simple question. Today's guest is a father of 5. He's lived through Hurricane Katrina to tell about it. He's also had a very short stint in the corporate world where he realized that that was something that he really didn't want to continue doing. He's an entrepreneur, and the first venture has a indoor sports complex, which is pretty phenomenal. He's an educator, he's a mentor, he's an author. He is the co-founder of CFDL Capital and the host of the extremely popular podcast, Cashflow Dad Life. It is my honor to welcome Mr. Ryan ENK. Ryan, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much, Billy. And to this day, you are still one of my favorite people that I've had on the podcast, Cashflow Dad Life. Your laugh is infectious, and it's just a pleasure being here with you.
I love it, man. I love it. And I'm glad that we are getting a chance to be here and have you share your goodness, because you are someone that I just think the world of. And I am really excited to have this conversation and share your goodness with everybody else. So, Ryan, one of the things I love to start off with is really help connect everybody right across the pond and stuff like that. So where in the world are you today?
So I am in New Orleans, which most people know about, but I am actually across the lake from New Orleans. So the lake is, I guess it's the longest bridge in the world. The Chinese say they might have one longer. I'm not sure. Who really knows? But yeah, I'm across the lake from New Orleans.
All right. Perfect. Sounds great. And Ryan, what is the most positive thing that's happened to you in the last 24 hours?
As of 9 a.m. this morning, we just got a 124 unit under contract in Lafayette, Louisiana. So.
Wow. Congratulations. That is great news. Awesome. 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 So look, man, let's go. Let's continue with this. Ryan, I talked about a couple of things just to get started, but why don't you give everybody a chance to understand more about your backstory? Who is Ryan ENK? And we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of mentioned the Cliff Notes version in the intro, but basically, I just got married. I'll try to take the safe and secure route, and my story is one that proves that there's no such thing as safe and secure. And the best way to control your outcomes is to control your outcomes and to kind of be your own boss. And there's a lot of people out there that say, hey, I was just a born entrepreneur. That's not the case with me. I was kind of like a forced entrepreneur just by the circumstances. So got a job teaching. Wife is 8 months pregnant. We just got married. Just got a brand new house. Got the 401k. Plan to transition from teaching to another corporate job later, and just kind of move up the corporate ladder. And all of a sudden, Hurricane Katrina hits New Orleans. Our house gets wiped out. The roof was blown off. The floodwaters came up, so it wasn't like decimated, but it wasn't livable. Certainly not for raising our new child there. And we were displaced. We were homeless essentially for about 2 weeks, living in Danielle, my wife's younger brother's college apartment in LSU. And by the way, my wife is one of 11 children, so 11 family members all in one apartment. And I'll never forget having my head halfway out the car, trying to sleep because I had to sleep in the car with gas cans in the back.
Wow.
at any rate, I tried to get a job, couldn't get a job. No one wanted to hire me for whatever reason. So that's where I say I was forced entrepreneurship. Started a business that I failed colossally. And then finally, after about a year, landed a crappy corporate job. And that's the monk yelling at me, as you referenced. I was selling copiers. And so I don't know how many of the audience have seen that movie, The Office Space, where they take the copier in the back and they beat it with a baseball bat. that was essentially, what my life was like. Like, I'm the guy who went in to sell them that. And, nobody really wanted to see me. It was pretty cutthroat. And I just woke up every day with anxiety. So driving across the causeway of New Orleans, which, like I said, is one of the longest bridges in the world. And I just got chewed out by this Catholic monk for this copier that we sold him. And I thought, I'm in a really bad place right now. I'm getting yelled at by Catholic monks. I'm waking up with anxiety, not really, just kind of living the rat race, not really even providing well for my children or for my wife, and not emotionally present for them when I come home. So I prayed, because I'm a praying person, and I said, God, please, help me, give me some guidance here. And the question popped in my head that changed my life. And that question was, what would you do if money didn't matter? And that's where, at the time, I thought, well, I would go back to teaching, because I really did enjoy teaching. Or I'd play music, because I used to play music both in a bar and in church. And I used to dream. I played soccer and football. I used to dream of having this indoor sports arena, because they were popping up around the country. And so I was like, well, that would be awesome. If I had like a couple million, I'd probably open up like an indoor sports arena, or, mentor people, play some music. Not hung up, but got off that conversation with God, and then called my wife, and I said, hey, what could you see me doing if money didn't matter? We never talked about this before. And she said, I don't know, maybe opening up an indoor sports arena, or, going back to teaching or playing music or something. So I was like, all right, that's obviously, the confirmation that I needed. Well, at the time, I had nothing but overdraft fees in my bank account. And so I did know that there's a lot of people making a lot of money in real estate. And I think most people know that. They're like, yeah, there's, real estate's where it's at. It's created more millionaires than any other industry. But having no idea where to start, I just basically started following down the road. And I started pursuing that dream of financial freedom, and of not just financial freedom, but of time freedom, the freedom to do what I would do if money didn't matter. And to me, that's, at the highest level, that's serving other people. And long story short is I ended up just getting my hands on all the information that I could. Back then, there weren't a whole lot of podcasts, so there was a lot of books, but now we've got awesome podcasts like yours that are actually showing people how to do things. God, I wish I would have had access to that back in the day. But, I just started, implementing all these strategies, from lease options to doubles to fourplexes to creative financing to investing long distance. All these things I started implementing, and long story short, was able to quit my job after 12 months, create enough passive income to replace that. And in 3 years, I opened up that multi-million-dollar sports arena. Now, it's no longer, I've since sold the arenas, but it's no longer that is part of my dream, but I've got other projects that I'm working on now. And real estate's really been a blessing, because it's allowed me to do what I would do if money didn't matter.
Wow. So there are so many different ways we could kind of go with this conversation, right? But I think at the end of the day, you tried a number of different things. You were in a position where you were just getting your family started. You found yourself in a position where you were living with your wife's family, 11 people, and your head out the door of the car. Then you were able to put it back together and be able to really get in touch with your spirituality, with your wife, be on the same page, be able to realize that, hey, listen, there's something more out there for me. And you didn't let lack of knowledge stop you. You found it. And you also didn't let I guess it's lack of knowledge, but not knowing. And you really just took action to really get started. And to the point now where I know that you're on a mission really to help set people financially free, and do that through real estate. Mm-hmm. So you've gone the full circle, not knowing anything to really being part of your mission.
Yeah, exactly.
That's phenomenal. And so I guess one of the things I would ask, Ryan, is when you're thinking about kind of that, one of the words you said was long distance, right? So you're in Louisiana.
Sure.
Give us an idea kind of today as you've evolved. Where are you, how long is long distance for you? Where are you also investing today?
Yeah, I mean, we'll go anywhere where there's a good deal. And I think that a lot of people, they get a little nervous just because of the management aspect of things from a long distance standpoint. But, if I could kind of share with you some of the secrets that we utilize on a very practical level, it's made us a lot, not only more comfortable, but it's given us access to more deals, and it's given us access to greater cash flows in some of these sub-markets where, if I was just sticking around in New Orleans, I've got, a very limited ability in New Orleans. But we're in Southeast Texas. We're in Chicago. We're looking up in Boston. We've got some offers in on properties in Florida. We've got some offers on properties in Utah and San Diego. So we will, there's certain metrics that we use really to go anywhere. If I could kind of highlight the secret that we use, and this is on a very practical level, is that we partner with people in a locality. So the people that are, for example, in our program, like they are in a locality, and Fannie Mae will actually give you the best terms on a loan if you have a local general partner involved. And so that's what we do. It's a difference between maybe 4.5% over 30 years at principal and interest, or 3.5% interest only, for 4 years. And that has really kind of given us an edge on our long distance investing, is by having, as part of our general partnership story, some sort of boots on the ground that's got equity and skin in the game in the property.
So that's definitely a big secret for many of you, and a lot of you probably hearing it for the first time. But just to also help everyone understand that when you're talking about having the difference of 1 percentage point, and that being principal and interest versus interest only, that has a direct impact on the cash flow and the ability to be able to generate cash flow for your investors and make sure that the project is as viable as possible. So that is a key. That is a key differentiator.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about some of the properties that are, we're buying $6 million to $15 million, having interest only for 4 years is like the difference between an extra $24,000 a month. Like it can get that high depending on the size of the property.
So what was the the driver, the motivation for you, Ryan, when things were working already in your backyard, your business was successful and things like that? I mean, you didn't have to go beyond your backyard. What was the reason?
Sure. So, this is probably, I'm going to answer this a little more deep than you might have been suspecting. But, one of the general principles when I was opening up the indoor sports arena, I hired this consultant. And he gave me this quote. I thought he was going to give me a feasibility study, and something business, but he just gave me this quote. And he said, take a day to reflect on this. And it was a quote from Albert Schweitzer that said, "This much I know, those of you who will truly be happy will be the ones who have sought and found a way to serve." And so I'm always thinking, well, and this is my daily prayer, how can I serve people at a larger capacity? And I'm limited here in New Orleans to the amount of people I can serve. So not only with the apartments, are you serving your community that you buy? Because a lot of times we do the value add, and I don't know how detailed you've been with that, but you go in and improve these properties, and so you're improving these communities, and you're enabling other people to be part of the general partnership, which adds cash flow to their life that enables them to help be financially free. You're providing jobs in the area through the property management company. And, for us, it was more of a moral question or a fundamental principle of, how we operate instead of a strategic question. And that was, how do we serve more people? And that's by getting outside of our locality. But the flip side to that, from a monetary standpoint, it's been tremendous because, we're getting more opportunities than we would just here in New Orleans. We're seeing, New Orleans, the cap rates are a little compressed. We're able to go outside that locality and see cap rates instead of at 5.6%, they're at 7, 8, sometimes even 9%. So it's created more opportunities to serve people and more financial opportunities for everyone involved.
Okay. So being able to serve people has now helped you to realize you want to go beyond your backyard, being able to do that on a wider scale. There are two terms that you kind of talked about there, and I really would like to just quickly unpack those so that a number of our newer listeners can understand what you mean. So you talked about first value add. So can you give us an example when you talk about a value added opportunity in multifamily real estate? What does that mean?
Yeah, so value add, and I kind of got this idea from a buddy of mine who started out as a public school teacher like me. I wasn't public school, but he was a teacher like me. And in 10 years, he grew a business over $1 billion with apartments. And he used the value add model just to kind of give everybody the idea of the power of the value add financially. The value add is basically where you go in and you see where you can create value for the renter. And the flip side of that is by creating more value in that community, you're also getting a little higher rent and you're increasing the value of the property. So it might be that you go in and you say, you know what, everybody is spending a lot of time in the laundry room and nobody likes to spend time in the laundry room because you got to sit there and watch your clothes and you're messing around. Everybody would rather watch Oprah and Ellen on their couch in their underwear, where they're comfortable. So you might take that laundry room and you might put the washer and dryer in everybody's individual apartments. And then you take that laundry room, you turn it into a fitness facility. And you take the outside and you paint it and you put some lipstick on it, you put some nice landscaping and really beautify the community and create value in that tenant's life. And in turn, you are also increasing their rent, but they're willing to pay for it because there's more value. That people are paying for convenience, they're paying for more value. So that's in a nutshell the value add opportunity.
Okay, perfect. So you're actually, once again, you're looking for the best way to serve the resident that is on your property and also being able to attract the resident that's looking for the type of value that you're adding on the property, such as having their own washer and dryer in their unit or having the workout facility or having a number of other different services. So thanks for clarifying that for us. And then there was another concept for many people may be new, but you talked about the cap rate. What is the cap rate and how does that actually, why is that important?
So cap rates determine the prices on the property. And so just real quick, if you're valuing an apartment across the board in localities, people are valuing them based off of NOI, which is essentially the profit. And we don't need to get in the weeds on it, but it's just the profit, what you make after paying all the expenses. And you divide that NOI by the cap rate, which is, anywhere in San Diego, it's like 4%, and you can find some that are 8 and even 9% in some of these submarkets. But just to give you the idea of the power of using the cap rate and the NOI, if you've got an apartment that is pulling in $100,000 cash, right, or $100,000 profit, the NOI, and the cap rate is at 6%, then you're at 1.67 million. So you just take 100,000 divided by 6%. That's at 1.67 million. And I apologize for making everybody get their calculator out, but
that's all right. That's all right. We love getting our calculators out, man. That's good.
But it's good. But say you got 100 units and you're able to raise rents by $50 by doing, these value adds. Well, 100 units times $50 times 12 is an extra $60,000 per year in profit. And so you take that 60,000 and you divide it by that same 6% cap rate, you just added $1 million in value by raising the rents $50 per unit on 100 unit. So that's just an idea of how the cap rate shows the value of a property and how that cap rate can really explode your wealth if utilized in the right strategy. So one general principle to know is that the lower the cap rate, the higher the value, and the higher the cap rate, the lower the value of the property.
Fantastic. Thanks for unpacking both of those and for letting us get our calculators out. That's always a good thing. That's always a good thing. Yeah. So Ryan, one of the things that I guess just in kind of some of the time that we have left, you're a father of 5, right? So many people are really busy. You talked about time before, something that was one of the things that was really important to you. It's as a father of 5, you have interest across the United States, you're building teams, you're mentoring, you're writing books. What is your secret sauce for being able to still keep your family in the center of every single thing you do, and being able to maximize the amount of time that you have, quality time that you have with them?
Yeah, so that's kind of why we got into real estate in the first place. Real estate allows that. That's, what you're doing with real estate, and especially the strategies that you teach, Billy, are you're finding ways to, instead of exchanging your time for money, you're exchanging your money or your capital, your human capital, for time. And so that's kind of the method that we use in any way that we structure things. Whether it's me setting up teams to manage it, or setting up people that are in charge of certain tasks, or it's a way of me to dispel my income and not even have to worry about it. And it's just 100% passive. That's kind of the secret is in the strategy, and apartments really lend to that. And as you know, and as your audience is learning, there's a couple ways that you can get involved in apartments. There's general partnerships, which is where you're kind of doing some of the work to put it together. And there's, sorry, Billy. There's general partnerships and there's limited partnerships. And you can really choose how active you want to be involved. But if your goal, like me, is to spend more time with my wife and my kids, and to have more time to serve others, then you might want to find a limited partnership to be a part of, or find a limited way to participate in a general partnership, because there's various tasks that are involved in a general partnership, and you can kind of pick and choose which one you want to be involved in.
And Ryan, with that, I guess just at a really high level, would it be safe to say that when you're looking at a general partnership, you're going to a certain extent, you're going to need to roll your sleeves up a bit, get more actively involved? And with a limited partnership, it's really, you continue to do what you do best, and you make sure that you're teaming with people that are going to make sure that your capital and the alignment of your own personal goals are aligned with the specific team and the project that they're going to do.
Yeah, that's very true. From 500 feet up, that's very true. I would say, what we do is we kind of break it down by the task. And I would say that you really do have the freedom to pick how involved you want. But the caveat to that is, for more equity, you're going to be doing more work. And if you don't want to do as much work, you're going to get less equity, so there's equity for risk capital, there's equity for asset management, there's equity for finding, sourcing, and underwriting the deals. So you kind of have to figure out where your skill set is and hone in on that, and then also figure out how much equity you want.
Yeah. I think it's a great way to describe it, Ryan. It's a great way to describe it. So look, I know we don't have a lot more time, but I'm just curious, like what are you thinking? Like what's next for you?
So we have started. We announced it in June of last year, and in June we decided, you know what, we have a lot of people that are in our program that deal with a lot of limiting beliefs, and I'm training people on this. But then I'm thinking, well, I think I might have some limiting beliefs myself, So I picked a very high and lofty goal. So we started this project called the 1,000 Door Project, where we attempt to buy 1,000 apartments in a year. And I picked that goal because it's in the mind. It's like, whoa, 1,000. That's crazy. How can you do that? That's got to be $100 million, $150 million, just depending on where you're buying. How are you going to do that? Am I capable of raising that kind of capital? And so that's been our focus, and that's what we've been digging deep in this past year. And the trick is we got to do it right. We don't want to just buy something and it's a crappy investment. So we're looking at sometimes 16 deals a day. We've got professional underwriters underwriting them. We've got boots on the ground, and I'm flying out to different locations to to analyze these properties myself and to make sure it's good. And then on the other side, we're creating a network of investors, of people who are interested in the limited partnership side of things, of passive income investments. So nobody knows this. They're going to learn it first on your show. But as of June of last year, we set the goal. And as of now, we have about 600 that we've closed and under contract. So, and we just got that 124 under contract just now. So
fantastic.
I don't think we'll hit the 1,000. Maybe I'm limiting myself again, but I've been able to do things that I never thought that I was able to do.
So, and one of the things, so I love that you are basically, you're coaching, you're mentoring people, and you say, hey, look, you know what, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and we're going to do this. You don't know how, you just realized that it was one of the things that you needed to get out there and get done. And so you're working towards that, which is phenomenal. And just, I guess, kind of getting ready to wrap up things, but I do have one last question before we go to our final three. So how are things now? Because we're living in this moment in time where travel is a little bit more restricted. And I know that you said that that's one of the places that, or one of the things that you do, even though you have boots on the ground. How are you dealing with this new reality?
Well, I will say that I think that this is the best time to be getting things under contract, because everybody's a little scared. Everybody's not sure what's going on. But we also had, in America at least, we had 2.3 trillion injected into the economy, new cash, and that'll probably be more by the time it's done. And so we're going to see massive inflation. And this is where, unfortunately, it's not by my design, but it's the way that economics works. This is where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And the rich are the people who are taking that disposable income, and they're buying assets with it. And so by owning real estate, your debt doesn't increase with inflation. It stays the same. So the value of that $2 million debt is a lot less, and you're paying it down anyways. But the value of the property is escalating because you're going to be pulling in higher rents. You're going to be, and just the general values of things are going to be escalating. So we see this as the optimal time to be going out there and finding deals and getting things under contract. Now, what we're doing on the ground, on the flip side, just to be safe, is we're creating long due diligence periods. So whereas you might see a 30-day due diligence period, we're asking for 90-day due diligence periods with extensions if available. So we're being aggressive, but we're still being smart about it in light of what's going on with the economy and the uncertainty. But now is the time to start creating assets before that entire 2.2 trillion starts circulating and inflation starts happening.
And I think so that's really helpful, Ryan. And also too is one of the main reasons that it's really important to understand what are the cycles that are happening within a market and within a submarket, right? Because this is where, aside from the general macroeconomic situation that's happening, you are able to, when you're teaming with the right people in the right markets and submarkets, you may find yourself in a developing market at a time where capital is relatively inexpensive to get. You have the boots on the ground, and it creates the perfect storm for you. And so I think that is phenomenal. And yes, those 2.3 trillion that have been printed in the U.S. alone, and well, there's a bunch of other things we could get into, like what's happening on the repo market, where that is actually $1 trillion a day. But we'll save that for our next conversation, because that's just that takes things to a completely different level. So, Ryan, this has been really awesome, man. And so I want to get ready, but I never go into the final three unless you tell me that you're ready for me to go into the going long final three questions.
Man, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Perfect. So with me sitting here in Barcelona, once again, this is one of the things I always want to know from all of our guests. What is your favorite European city, either that you visited or that you still have on your bucket list to visit?
I have to say two of them at least, though, because I've been to Rome at least 7 times. I honeymooned in Rome with my wife. I love Rome, everything about it. And on the other side, just because it was one of my favorite experiences, was in Ireland, in Dublin. So I enjoy both those places.
All right, perfect. So because it's you, I'm going to let you go with 2, but we're taking Rome as the number 1.
Put Rome down. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. We'll keep both. So the other question is, Ryan, along the way, I mean, you've not been able to accomplish the things that you've accomplished in your life without creating having a couple of mistakes. Those mistakes you paid full price for. Yeah. And it's probably one of the main reasons that you are able to coach and mentor people today and do it so effectively. I guess because you paid full price for that and you're such a nice guy, will you help share with us one lesson that you would want to share with others so that they don't have to pay full price for that mistake?
Yeah, I would say pay for speed instead of the mistakes. A lot of people are hesitant, especially in the real estate realm, because there's some charlatans out there. But paying for a mentor is just invaluable. Having someone to save you from those mistakes. The other thing I'm sorry, you keep on asking for one, I keep on giving you two. But the best piece of advice I give anybody in regards to real estate, and this is why long distance investing is such an awesome idea, because if you're doing it the right way, I would say know the difference between speculating and investing. And investing, you're investing in known outcomes. You buy an apartment long distance and you already know it's producing $150,000 in rents per month because that's what it's doing now. And there's just an upside there. Speculating is, I'm going to build something new. I've got a projection. I've got a crystal ball that I've come up with. Maybe it's going to get these rents. Maybe it's not. We're going to see. Maybe we'll make a ton of money, but you could also lose money. I've lost a ton of money speculating, and I've made a ton of money investing. So that would be my other piece of advice, especially in regards to long distance investing.
Awesome. So appreciate that. Speed is what wins. Then the last question is, what book has made a huge impact on you that you would like to recommend to us?
I mean, you can't go wrong with Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, if you haven't read that yet, you got to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's essential. That's fundamental.
All right, perfect. So Rich Dad Poor Dad. And you know what? One of the things that we're also going to make sure that we do, and we'll include it today, is I know that we mentioned you being an author, and so you have an awesome book that I think would be interesting for everyone to learn more about and pick up as well. So, Ryan, we've learned loads and loads with you today. It's been awesome. You also have to teach us the trick of how a father of 5 during this environment is able to keep his house completely calm and quiet, because I only have 2 and it's crazy. So look,
I have a really good wife that I said, make sure that no one speaks.
There you go. Okay. All right. Got it. Perfect. I guess that's why mine are not making any noise right now. No. So we've learned so many things. We realize that many times once we get out of our own head, in spite of different adversity that can be there, it's about understanding, surrounding yourself with the right people and being able to take action. I mean, you've exemplified this, and you are out there now, not only, working on towards your 1,000 doors, which I'm fully confident that you're going to get there. You're teaching others how to do it as well, which is phenomenal. And I know I want to be in touch with you more often. Everybody that's watching us, that's listening to us, they are dying to get in touch with you. So can you please help us? What is the best way to get in touch with you and your team?
So the best way to get, the absolute best way to get in touch with me is to go to cfdlcapital.com. And there you'll see some of the deals that we do and some of that we have available. And you can book a call on that as well. And that's typically the calls I respond to the most, are the people that are interested in investing, okay. But it's at cfdlcapital.com. And there's you can contact us or you can book a call on that.
Awesome. So cfdlcapital.com is the fastest, best way to get in touch with you as quickly as possible. So we're going to take you up on that. So everyone definitely reach out to Ryan, reach out to him quickly, so he and his team can continue to help educate you on a number of the different mindset and opportunities that are available. So Ryan, huge thank you, man. Really appreciate it. It's been awesome. And I want to thank all of the Going Long audience for being a part of today's episode. Without you, none of this would be possible. I also want to make sure that you're not just keeping all this goodness to yourself. Go ahead and share it with at least 2 other friends, because we want to continue to grow our community so we can be even stronger, more like-minded individuals, being able to go out there and accomplish more together. So once again, this is Billy Keels. This has been awesome once again being with you. I wish you a very great day and looking forward to you joining us on the next episode. Wow, don't you love hearing from top-notch experts in the field? You know, when I was getting started, I really wish that I would have had access to such experts. And even more, I wish they would have given me like a really simple list of things to follow so that I could have gotten to my goals much faster and been much happier even sooner. So that's why I've created for you the 7 things that you should avoid in order to be successful in long distance investing. And you can pick that up really easily by going to billykeels.com/7 things to avoid. And also, if you liked today's episode, don't forget to leave a 5-star review. I'm looking forward to seeing you on our very next episode, so go out and make it a great day.